Welcome back subscribers and hello YouTube viewers. On this occasion we have a look at the Oakleigh Motel. Now the Oakleigh Motel was the first motel built in Victoria. It was designed in 1956 and opened in 1957. It was located on the Princes Highway, also known as Dandenong Rd, and about 20 kilometres or 12 miles from the state capital Melbourne. It was the main road into Melbourne from Gippsland in what were then the outskirts of Melbourne. The motel, designed by builder and draftsman James Miller, principal of the Tech Draft Machine and Drafting Service. The design was likely to have been influenced by the owner, Cyril Lewis, who had travelled in the United States, staying in and inspecting many motels there. The motel was a new building type inspired by American models and was associated with the post-war boom in car ownership. The rooms provided more comfort than the old hotels and guest houses and were self-contained and private. Each room had its own bathroom and telephone and had air conditioning, soundproofing, wall-to-wall carpet and Venetian blinds. The single-storey nature of the room blocks and the planning of the site allowed patrons of the motel to park their car at the door of their unit. Signage and electric lighting were closely tied to modern design in post-war architecture, with businesses such as shops, motels and service stations taking full advantage of both to advertise the place and its function. The excesses of commercialism typified by the Oakleigh Motel signage were deplored by Robin Boyd in his 1960 book, The Australian Ugliness, but became more acceptable in the 1980s with movements such as pop art and post-modernism. Once again, all the credits and references in the making of this video will be in the description below. So these are the remaining few historic images. Any more information that I sort of come across will be done and voiced over during the drone footage. So please enjoy. So we have made it. Having a look at it now, I can tell you that things have changed drastically. I don't think it's a motel anymore. I believe that maybe each and every sort of unit is now has been sold off. The cafe or the restaurant that was next door, that seems to still be there. But it looks like it's it's not operational. I don't think there's anything in there. But we'll have a closer look. This is just me driving past and quickly stopping, jumping out to get the introduction out of the way. So we'll get that out of the way. We'll have a look. The skies are pretty good. The sun is trying to break through, but it is very cold. And let's see what we see. So here I am on the overpass, and I'll try to focus in on the actual signage of the Oakleigh Motel. Now we are technically in East Oakleigh, but I guess back in the day they considered this all to be part of just Oakleigh before it was divided up, I guess. Very busy road. And certain things haven't changed. The only thing I notice about this area is a lot of the older homes have been demolished, and either units are being built or much larger homes are being built. I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that a lot of these properties, or the block of land that you got back in the day, is a lot larger than what you get these days. So I guess if you're living in the Oakleigh area and you owned a home, you've probably got an above average block of land than what you're seeing today. Now it is very noisy, but what I'll be trying to do is to capture sort of the angle of images that we'd seen earlier with the historical sort of photos. As you can see on the left is the restaurant part, that's still there. The signage that was on top of where it says Oakleigh Motel, that's been removed. And it looks like it's been converted, or the reception area has been converted into an actual home. There's your driveway entrance to the motel. The signage looks good. We probably could do with a slap of paint in red to make it pop a little bit, but I guess whoever owns it chooses not to. It does have a heritage overlay, so I guess there's sort of only limited things you can do. And now that I'm looking at the restaurant part, it looks like that's been divided up into an apartment as well. So I know there was a bit of a drama for the developer who bought it, who wanted to demolition the whole site, but luckily the preservation groups and the historical societies challenged that and were successful. So we actually will probably see what the hotel was back in the day, but instead of having a commercial sort of presence, it's all now private and residential. There's a little bit more of the signage, and the birds in the trees right next to me are having a ball. It is a noisy road, it is a busy road. I'm surprised it wasn't a successful motel, but then again it probably was back in the day. So this is where one would have driven in, gone to the reception, collected your keys and parked up to one of your motel rooms. It does appear there's a second story on some of them, and I guess that was okay so long as it didn't interrupt the lower levels. And I'll try to get an image where we saw all the cars parked up where the gentleman was reading his newspaper from back in the day, which I thought was quite good. So I'm gathering that it was sort of somewhere in this location. There's the back of the reception area of the motel. Not sure if that overhang or carport sort of type structure has changed much, but I'm not really 100% sure. We'll come through. You can see that the second story has been built afterwards, but all the ground level is the apartments. And you've got some unbelievably beautiful lorikeets right outside your front door. Isn't that terrific? They're having a ball. Yep, he's having a ball. This part was the restaurant, I believe, and that's been converted into housing or apartments. And I have seen an advertise sort of bulletin in realestate.com where you could have bought one of these. So I'm assuming they've all been bought up. And here you have the restaurant. And I think in some of the last of photos it was like in a Mexican cantina type restaurant, and that's now a home for someone, which is pretty cool. You can sort of tell people that you live in a restaurant, and also the first motel that was ever built in Victoria, which is just fantastic. Something different than your standard four walls on a on an empty block. You've got a conversation piece when people come to visit, and yeah, it looks like definitely they've all been turned into private apartments. Small, the ones with the 2 stories have probably done all right, but the single-story ones, I guess they're the studio apartments that people can buy. Now here's a close-up of the actual signage that also caused a bit of controversy with some people. who said it was a bit too loud, which is quite interesting. And it is. Look, it is a Sunday morning, yet the traffic is very, very busy. And that's the overpass that I walked across initially, but you didn't get a very good view of the of this place at all. Geez, I got the shutters up where the reception would have been, but it does have a house number. So that's 1A 1650. I would have thought that would have made a great dental surgery place, doctor's surgery place, something similar to that. But I guess the planning code for this area must have changed for residential. So I'll just jump in here with a little bit more sort of interesting information that I've discovered, and this comes from the Victorian Heritage Database. So the Oakleigh Motel is historically significant as the first motel to be built in Victoria, which we're now aware of, and as the only surviving example of the initial boom in motel development in Melbourne metropolitan area between 1955 and 1959. It represents a new type of building associated with the economic and social changes occurring in Victoria after World War II, particularly the dramatic rise in family travel by private car in the 1950s. The Oakleigh Motel is architecturally significant as an unusual intact example of the 1950 modernism in Victoria, and is aesthetically significant as an example of the American Googie style of architecture. It is also significant as the earliest example in Victoria of a new building type, which was designed to be visually striking and used prominent signage and lighting to advertise the place and its function. So that's about it with the history that I'm able to find about this location. So please enjoy the aerial views. So that's about it with the walkabout. Not too much to sort of see. It's all now private. If you did like the video, by all means, click on the like button or the thumbs up icon. Please consider subscribing. Subscribing doesn't cost you 1 cent and it really helps out the channel immensely. But most importantly, stay safe, commute safe, and have a great day. And thanks for watching. And boy, they are driving pretty quick on this road.